Hello everyone. So just carrying on with making some more videos for you. So this is for my students that are taking the AQA spec. If you don't know me, my name's Josh. I was a teacher for a really long time, taught thousands of students in computer science. I was also an examiner. And what I thought I'd do is I'd make this series so that you could essentially use this to revise in the most efficient way possible by giving you as little as possible to remember so that it's easier for you to revise and you can get the top marks without having to work crazy hard. So these are the spec points we're going to cover today. We're going to be focused on the von Neumann architecture, the CPU, and the different components within the CPU. So top spec point that we're going to focus on is the von Neumann architecture and the CPU, asking general questions about those. What I will do on each spec point is I'll use my examiner knowledge and also, just experience of working with lots and lots of students to try and work out what are the general kind of questions that you are going to be asked. So here I've gone for describe the purpose of the CPU, describe the von Neumann architecture, and describe the fetch execute cycle. Now, what I'd recommend in your notes is to write the questions that you could get in one color, so that then you remember them in the exam, and then write in a nice bright color, could be red or whatever, put your answer in there, and then you're just much more likely to remember what it is that the answer is. So the answer for this one is going to be the CPU fetches instructions and data from RAM, brings it back to the CPU, decodes it, and executes it by carrying out the instruction. You could also add on there as well that process then repeats, which is the fetch, decode, execute cycle. And you can use that answer for every single one of those questions on there. So it makes things a lot easier for you. The next spec point we're going to look at is one of the components of the CPU, which is the arithmetic logic unit. So the two kind of questions that you could get is describe the purpose of the ALU and state and describe the purpose of two components in the CPU. And this would be half of it, with being, 2 marks from it. So the ALU performs mathematical operations and logical decisions such as and, or, not. Everybody gets the first part, everybody forgets the second part, and then they drop a mark on there. The next part is the control unit. So the control unit, again, very similar question to before. We just have to make sure that we know how to describe it. So what you're going to say is, for 1 mark, performs the decoding part of the FDE cycle, and also the second part, which is sends control signals to other parts of the CPU. Registers, so again, just describing it, you need to be saying volatile memory store used in FDE cycle to store instructions and data. The clock, so what we're going to have here is, just delete that, so with the clock is, you just need to get the definition for it. The clock, it sends out electrical pulses to keep the CPU synchronized. So again, just get that definition down. Bus, I've literally, from the specification point, they've given us the description of that. So I've just used that when describing this. So just say a bus is a collection of wire through which data signals are transmitted from one component to the other. That then draws us to the end of all of the information you need to know for those spec points. But I need to talk to you about potential maintenance tasks, which just means about how you can practice this information to make sure you put it into long-term memory. Now, I'll give you a little reminder of this activity after a few of the video lessons, but one of the things I think you need to do is make revision as easy as possible for you. I believe flashcards are probably the easiest way of revising. And with computer science, a lot of it is just remembering keywords. So all you need to do, get some paper. You can cut it in half if you want. You don't even have to cut it in half if you can't be bothered. Then all you need to do is put the question on the front, answer on the back. You go through it and you ask yourself the question that is on the top of the deck. You write the answer. And what you can then do is, when you flip it over, you compare your written answer to the one that you wrote on the back from my slides, And if it's not exactly the same, because what I've done is I've used my examiner knowledge and all that kind of stuff to what's going to be giving you the marks. So if it's exactly the same, you then put that into a good pile, like I got that, I'm feeling confident with that. If you got it even a little bit wrong or completely wrong, you need to put that into a practice pile. You can then, once you've gone through the whole deck, you then will have two piles, a good pile and a practice pile. I mean, might have all practice or all good, but let's just say that you've got two piles. And then in the practice pile, what you need to do is practice them, because that's telling you that you need to go over those in slightly more detail. And eventually, we're going to move all of them into the good pile. This is the most effective way of revision, in my opinion. And we need to be pairing these videos. If you're having lessons with me, great as well. Have lessons with me, and then also, practicing it using these kind of maintenance tasks. That is all for today then.